Hey everybody, Andrew here again. Well, it's review time. This time it's going to be a range of liquids from VaporPal Ireland. I'll put the address up for you. Shane Dowling of VaporPal sent me up 5 liquids to try from their VMist range. So I'm going to give them a go. As ever, I'll say exactly what I think about them, and it will be my opinion. Everybody's taste varies, so just because I feel that they taste a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that you feel that they're going to taste that way. Now, before I start, I'd like to, I suppose, start with the bottle. The bottle is really quite impressive. Now, what can you say about a bottle? Well, in this case, obviously they take health and safety very, very seriously. Everything that could be on the bottle in terms of, you know, what its makeup is, you know, the warnings, etc., etc. It's all there and very, very easy to see. Also, the tip of the bottle is really quite good and one of the best that I've seen on a bottle that you could get. So here's one of their liquids here. And as you can see on the front, it gives you all the information about the obviously the name of it and what the strength of it is and what the mix is, etc., etc. But then when you go to the back side of it, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but again it goes into a huge amount of detail about all the various different, you know, components within it and the various different safety messages, you know, which is pretty good, I must say. When we go to actually open the bottle, you can see that it's got this particular tip. Now, this tip I think is excellent because, you know, with all of the various different, you know, atomizers you have, etc., etc., a lot of them will only take a narrower tip. So in this case, I think this bottle will pretty much fill everything, you know. So in many cases, you wouldn't need a syringe or anything in particular to sort of, you know, extract it out of the bottle to put it into the atty. Here it is now, you know, with a you know, a tip like this, which is long enough. I think that's really, really great. Again, it's got a child lock cap on it, so it's got a safety cap, so the little ones are safe when it's around. So pretty good, I think. So let's get into the actual review of the liquids. Now, just so that there's no confusion at all, what I've done is, in each case, the liquid is going to be going into a low resistance Bode cartomizer. In each case, they're 2.2 ohms is what they run at. Now, I have a different color drip tip for each one so that there's, you know, we can see exactly what's going on. For the first liquid, which is called Rebel, it's a tobacco liquid, we have a pink drip tip. For the second one, which is Burren Blend, again another tobacco liquid, we've got a sort of a mossy green coloured drip tip. For the third one, which is Rainbow Fruit, we've got a blue drip tip. For the fourth one, which is another tobacco one, which is called Cuban Blend, we have a gold drip tip. And finally, for the fifth one, which is called Cherry Cola, we have a red drip tip. So what I'll do is, in each case, we're going to be running it on a Provari at 4.2 volts. Let's give them a go and see what they're like. Now, before I actually taste them, I'd just like to say, first of all, that, you know, I'm no expert on flavours or anything like that. For me, my palate tells me certain things which could be completely different to what other people think of it. So I wouldn't be sort of breaking down each flavour into all of its sort of individual components because quite often I can't tell what those components are. Now, what I will be doing though is basically telling you the impression that I'm getting from it, you know, what the basic flavour that's coming through to me and to my palate is. And then whether or not I actually think that that's nice and, you know, whether it's something that I reckon that I could vape on a regular basis. So that's basically it. So let's get on to the first one. Right, first up we have Rebel. In this particular case, what I'm trying is, it's a 50-50, it's a tobacco, and this is 12 milligrams. So as I said earlier on, drip tip, here we go, pink drip tip for this particular one. On the Provari, I told you what it was, it's going at 4.2 on a 2.2 ohm Bode cartomizer. So let's just see what it's like. Well, again, as you can see, as with many liquids these days, you know, plenty of vapor, just what you'd expect for a 50-50 really. Taste-wise, what's it like? It's kind of sweet on the inhale, not overly sweet, really quite pleasant. Yeah, it's definitely a tobacco flavour. You know, would it be sort of cigar direction? Well, maybe a sort of a light cigar kind of tobacco. Let me just... Yeah, I would say it's a light tobacco. It's really quite pleasant now, I must say. I tend to, in my normal daily vape, the tobaccos that I have are really quite sort of strong ones or whatever, and quite complex. This one, it's got a little bit going on in there, but I would say that it's probably of the tobacco flavours, you know, it would be a reasonably light one, and as such, you know, could suit many, many people. Throat hit on it is absolutely perfect. It's really nice. So yeah, all in all, I'd say for this one, Rebel, it's a very nice very nice tobacco. As I said, you know, fairly mild, but for a lot of people that would suit them very, very nicely. Yes, I could imagine that this is one that you could actually vape all day without any problem whatsoever. So that's Rebel tobacco from the VMist range. Let's try the next one. So, on to liquid number 2. This time, what we have, it's called Burn Blend. And again, it's 12mg 50-50. Love the fact that it's got an Irish name to it as well, which is great. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but all of these liquids are all manufactured in the EU. So, and as I said with the bottles, you know, they've got every bit of information that you could imagine on it. So, you know, I think that their quality control is probably really, really good. So let's give this one a go. Sort of moss green drip tip on it. Again, Pravari, same settings, everything the same as on the Rebel liquid that I just tasted. So let's see what this one's like. Again, a bit of a sweetness on the inhale, which is actually very pleasant. It's not overly sweet. There's certainly a bit of tobacco there, but there's also something else, which is it's a slightly, I can't make out exactly what it is. It's a slightly sort of fruity kind of a flavour, but I can't, you know, tell you exactly what fruit, because I would imagine it's some sort of a mixture. And in fact, maybe it's not fruit at all. Who knows? You know, my palate tells me one thing. You know, it could be completely different than what the blenders of the actual liquid, you know, decided to put together in the first place. But for me, it's really quite pleasant. So on the website, they describe it as Burn Blend is a smooth, well-balanced tobacco flavour and is an ideal all-day vape. Well, I'd probably agree with them on that. Again, this one, it hasn't got, you know, one of those really strong flavours that you could get sick of very quickly. It's got a very pleasant, you know, mildish flavour, which I would imagine is something that you could actually go all day with. So yeah, all in all, Burn Blend, really quite nice. Now to the third one in the range, and this time we have Rainbow Fruit. Again, 12mg 50-50. And in this case, we've got our blue drip tip. So again, brand new Carto, like it has been for all of them. So let's see what this one's like. Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as you even start to drag on it, you can start getting the fruit out of it straight away. It's a bit of a fruit cocktail. I mean, there's a number of different fruit in there. So which ones? I'm not quite sure. There's a bit of strawberry in there. There's a bit of citrus in there. but it's one of those mixed up fruit flavors which, you know, the combination can either work or doesn't work. I think in this case it works quite well. I'm not a huge fruity flavor liquid person, but no, this is really quite nice. Also, it's not too artificial. In some cases, you know, it's like, you know, sweets when you actually try some of these fruit flavors. You know, it's like it's come from exactly the same ingredients, but with this there's a little bit more depth to it than that, you know. So yeah, again, pretty much the same vapor as the others. I'd say in comparison to the previous two, so to Rebel and to the Burn blend, throat hit on this one is a little bit less, but it's still there nonetheless. So I mean, there's no issues with it. So again, all day vape. Well, for me, not an all day vape, I would imagine, because, you know, that much fruit in my day and it would just completely wreck my head. But that is because, generally speaking, I'm a tobacco flavor vapor. So no, for me, all day vape, no. For some people, I would imagine definitely yes. There wouldn't be an issue at all with that. But no, it's a pleasant full fruit blend liquid, which I think it works quite well. So now we have our fourth one, which is Cuban blend. Same mixes and strength as the others. So in this case we have the gold drip tip, again new Carto, etc, etc, etc. What they actually say on their site for this one is VMist Cuban blend is a complex, rich and satisfying cigar flavoured tobacco vape. So let's see. Well, it's definitely a tobacco flavour. There's no doubt about that at all. Yeah, I can see the cigar thing that they're actually talking about. Again, would it be like a sort of a big Cuban cigar? No, it wouldn't really be. But there is a cigar-y element to it. So there's a bit of sweetness to it as well. So it's quite nice as far as that is concerned. Vapor-wise, it's the same as the others. Throat hit-wise, I'd say it's up with the first two tobaccos. It's you know, it's a bit stronger than the rainbow fruit one, but yeah, it's a nice throat hit. So again, I wouldn't have any issues with that whatsoever. So as an all day vape, I think some people would like it as an all-day vape. For me, no. But is it something that I'd like, you know, at a certain part of the day, you know, later on in the evening, something like that? Well, yeah, I'd say I possibly would. It's quite nice. I have had some other cigar flavors, you know, which are kind of richer and fuller. But again, I'm not sure what they're trying to do with this, whether, you know, because you do get some really heavy duty liquids that are out there. I don't think the VMist range is about that. I think that the VMist range is about, you know, coming up with liquid flavors that the majority of people, or a large number of vapors, would actually like, rather than some of these, you know, very, very specific, very heavy duty liquids that are actually out there. So for me, as a cigar flavor, yes, I mean it's I'd say quite nice, but this is just my palate. This is my taste, you know, and it's my opinion. Lots of other people out there could think of it in a different way as me, because, you know, I'm naturally comparing it to other things that I've had and, you know, the taste that I've built up over time. So, but yeah, as a liquid, pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, pretty good. Now, finally, on to the last one, the fifth one, which is Cherry Coke. And this is a brand new one that they have out. I'm not sure if it's available on their website yet. It's meant to be coming out this weekend. I think they're launching it. But yeah, this one was kind of freaking me out from the beginning because cherry is not one of my favorite flavors in the world. Particularly, you know, that fake artificial cherry flavor. I just can't stand it, frankly. But I do like Coke, so let's see what happens with this one. Again, in this case, we've got the sort of reddish dark pink drip tip on it. So let's give it a go. Again, flavour pretty much the same as the others, maybe a slight bit less, but yeah, as soon as you start dragging on this one, you start to get the cherry coming through immediately. The Coke part, maybe. If there's a Coke element to it, which I'm sure there is because it's in the name, it's really quite subtle. Cherry is definitely the stronger flavour that's coming through here. And despite the fact that I don't really like cherry, this is actually quite nice. It's, you know, it's again, there's a sweetness to it, but it's not that sickly sort of a cherry taste that you get. It's, to me anyway, it's slightly more towards the sort of the sour cherry. There used to be, years ago, you could get a chewing gum which was called sour cherry, and there's an element of that to this. You know, in fact, as a taste, it's quite similar. And certainly the sour cherry end is you know, the end, the only part, the only cherry taste I like, if you know what I mean. And in this particular case, it is, for me, the sort of the sourer end of things. Yeah, again, just a tiny bit of Coke in it. I'm not really getting that much Coke, but yeah, on the cherry side, it's certainly there. So what do I think of it? Well, actually, I think it's an awful lot better than I thought it was going to be. Anybody who likes cherry, I'd say that this is one that could definitely be for you. It's not too sweet, nice hint of cherry in there, tiny bit of Coke maybe. But I think it's really nice and quite a refreshing vape as well. So that's one that I'll certainly be hanging on to and using in the future. So where can you get the VMist range? Well, if you go to VaporPal.com, go to the liquid section, they sell a number of different liquids there, but the VMist range is there. 1050 for 20 mils, and then obviously post and packaging on top of that. I think as a range, I think they're very good. There's some of them that work more for me than others. I would have to say that probably of all of them, Burn Blend, I really like that. That could be an all-dayer from me. Rainbow Fruit, I think that's very good as well. Full-on fruity flavour. What fruit, I'm not sure. I can get a bit of strawberry, I can get a bit of citrus in there or whatever. But again, I think that works quite well. And then the surprise for me is the Cherry Coke, which I thought that I was going to really loathe, but in fact I actually quite like. Probably the least favourite for me would be the Cuban blend, which is the cigar flavoured one. Again, that's my personal preference. There could be many of you out there who think that's absolutely fantastic. Just for me, it doesn't work quite as well. And then the Rebel, I think, is good, but again, it wouldn't be one of my favourites out of it. It's a sort of a mild tobacco, but then again, you know, there's a particular tobacco liquid which I tend to vape the whole time, which is one that, yeah, is very much my favourite. So with any other tobacco flavour, you know, I try not to sort of compare, but ultimately you end up doing so. So I would say that Rebel, milder sort of tobacco flavour, but I think could probably work for a lot of people out there. So I think within the range there's a number of other liquids available in the range as well. I think there's probably something for everybody. So as I said, if you want to get some, VaporPal.com. I think, you know, it would be a good idea in the future if they were to come out with sample packs. That seems to be what a lot of companies are doing at the moment. You know, it just gives you the ability to just go and buy you know, 5 mils of each of a number of different flavors, so that you can then test them, see which one you like, and then go and buy more of whichever your favorite one is. That may be something that they're bringing in the future, I'm not sure, but it would certainly be something that would be quite good. I think overall, again, going back to the packaging, that, you know, the bottles that they have, you know, the fact that, well, childproof, that's standard from a lot of them now. Huge amount of information on the bottle. I think that's absolutely excellent, and something that should be encouraged. And then also, very, very nice, this particular tip. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen on a normal liquid bottle coming through. So, all in all, yeah, good range, VMist. And again, thanks very much to Shane Dowling for sending them on to me to review. And see you again soon, guys. Cheers.